So what is the most obscure, hidden, unique RPG role-playing game that you've either played as a player or like to run as a GM? Now, certainly I play lots and lots of Dungeons & Dragons for various reasons. It's part of my RPG DNA. That's what I started with. The community, the fun, plugging into that, and really also the common currency, the DNA of D&D. A lot of people play it. It's very easy to get a game. You can run different types of campaigns. Very easy to join or find players. I noticed as soon as we kind of dive into other RPG systems, it's almost like there's 3 tiers of systems. There's, I'm going to commit heresy right here, D&D and Pathfinder. That's kind of, I walk into any gaming store, any bookstore, and I can probably within 5 or 10 minutes find a game, locate materials. Then there's like this second tier of RPGs, which seem to kind of fit very, very specific areas. It's a very, very specific narrative. I pushed up to my channel here yesterday and a couple of days ago, Alien, the RPG. I mean, the chance to fight the alien and to immerse myself in that universe, absolutely. And the challenge with jumping into these type of very, very focused games, just to kind of frame the question we're asking, obscure RPGs. Another example would be Dark Heresy. Set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, you're playing an inquisitorial team looking to act as an agent for the Imperium under the authority of the immortal God Emperor of mankind. If that makes sense, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If that doesn't make any sense, this leads into that second tier of role-playing games where it's kind of a cool narrative. It's got cool mechanics, Alien and Dark Heresy. But to find players, it's not just a pickup type game. You have to have someone that has knowledge of the universe or interest in the universe. Not always that hard to do. But now we jump to this third tier of kind of obscure stuff. And it could be a setting. It could be a different type of rule set that's out there. Or it can be a combination of those two factors and maybe more factors. So the game that I love running, I love playing, I want to do more of it, absolutely. But it is a very, very unique experience. And I'm going to share a few of the mechanics with it. It's the Black Cube. So I go back and forth here in terms of RPGs. Let's, again, jump back to D&D as the currency here because we've all played D&D and we all enjoy D&D. Even if you don't play it anymore, I jump back and forth between playing games that are real old school. Just my dice, my 3 books, DM screen. That's it. Then we've also gone to the other side. I pull out all the Dwarven Forge. We've got miniatures. I mean, hey, I'm a Wargamer. I've got half this stuff already, and any excuse to buy more miniatures and more terrain and do 3D dungeons, like, come on, we can't resist that. So playing that perspective of it, back and forth. This Black Cube, this system is a very card-heavy game, reference-heavy game, and very prop and visually driven game for the players. So pulling that in, and the cube itself has numerous secrets. It's it's literally a giant black cube. So transporting this to the gaming session, it like doubles as something to hold everything. Not really convenient transport. It's like 30 pounds worth of stuff, of books and cards and props and things. But right away showing up with that, people are like, what's this? Invisible Sun. Invisible Sun. So in this system, the real world, it's kind of Matrix-like. The real world is just an illusion, and it's a dream. And you've woken up in the true world, which is more of a dreamlike world where the laws of magic, it's a very magic-based heavy game, are in effect. And I know I'm simplifying things a little bit. And there's various worlds leading to the invisible sun. You've awakened for some reason, for some type of challenge, various memories, various quests, and you play essentially a mage-based character. But when I say mage, it's not kind of like a fantasy wizard throwing stuff around. Magic is just the physics of the universe, and the laws that govern it are completely fluid. So what you have is a very, very creative, you can almost do anything governed by the effects of magic in the different worlds leading to the invisible sun. And of course, there's cards that put out. There's various things in effect and tokens and mechanics. It's a very visually interactive and visually heavy game. But the challenge here is not only the perspective of playing in a very fluid game. You arrive in it, you wake up in this world, the invisible sun, and you're like, okay, what's the quest? Well, there is no quest. It's your character. What are you looking to achieve? What are you looking to do? It is the ultimate open sandbox type game. And that can be kind of intimidating, I think. That can be kind of overwhelming for certain RPG enthusiasts where you're used to the quest, right? We start the session, here's the quest. Well, what's the quest? I don't know. What do you want to do? What are your character goals? What are you going to discover? What are you going to interact? Now, and of course, the rules and visuals support that fantastically. On the other side is the GM. There's zero prep time. I really, really enjoy this from the fact of I just show up to play. I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea what we're going to create. It's almost like, yes, the GM is there to figure out the rules and kind of have that ultimate yes or no. But the GM in this game is also essentially really, not just in name only, really a player also, in that based on your character interaction, based on what your characters want to do, I'm going to be, as the GM, throwing stuff out there for your character to accomplish these goals. You kind of write down goals ahead of time and move them back and forth. So there is absolutely no prep time. There's absolutely nothing for me to plan, and I just sit down and play. That can be a little bit intimidating also. I mean, there's a certain comfort in having my maps and having my books and being like, okay, it gives the illusion of an open world, but they can only really go here, or maybe do this. Even if they do that, it leads to here. There is no decision tree. There is no flow chart. That's a very interesting mechanic. And what binds the two together is the fluidity of this magic system and the fluidity of how this game plays. I'd love to play it. I would love to play it more. I intend to play it more. I would love to get, look, the best case of any RPG. So your most obscure system, that system that you love, and you're going to kind of help me out. Put in the comments some of the systems that you play, because I'm always interested in new and unique RPGs, whether they're mainstream or kind of independent publishers. But from that perspective, the ideal idea would be, yeah, I'd love to play Invisible Sun once a week. But lining that up, making that happen, I would love to run a monthly game. I would love to do that from that perspective. It doesn't quite work out. We kind of play 3 or 4 or 5 sessions. Then some players drop off. It's hard finding newer players. It's hard looking around this giant black obsidian cube. But from that perspective, it is a very, very unique system, but a very, very focused type system. It's not mainstream, and I don't say that in a negative way, like D&D. So what are some of those obscure RPGs that you enjoy playing, again, as a GM or as a player? And what are some of those systems that I should be checking out and looking to add to my collection? Something unique, something that is going to be very entertaining, or something that hasn't been done before.